want to video me doing all of this? All right, we're here with Tony from E Farms. This is where we're getting our cow Juno from. She'll be arriving in a few weeks. So he's come out to walk our field and take a look at our barn and help us figure out what we really need to do to prepare for her arrival.
That's an electric shock.
Okay.
It works.
Yes.
It works.
It works well. They let you know. Yeah.
So Tony's our cow mentor, and you can find out more about E Farms on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, and our website.
And we'll put a description. We'll put a link in our description, so you can find them.
It'll be tight enough. You might have to feed some hay during the summer,
Okay.
which can also build the soil faster. So,
Yeah, so I guess the concern with the pond is just her making a mess of it, and a mess of the ground. Like
probably will.
I mean, do we attempt to keep her out of the pond and just run electric around it?
I would.
Okay.
Is this your water source or not?
No.
No.
Not.
Okay.
I mean, it can be, but we have not set up anything to really pull water from it. We're getting it from Wardensville.
Okay.
You can fill it up on one. I fill it up on the truck. I bring it in here. I empty from one container into the other. 300 gallons at a time. We're collecting storm water, but we have no infrastructure for getting it here. And we do plan to be able to pump this, but we're just not there yet. So we could put a strand around it if it.
Yeah, I would recommend. So like this area right in here,
Yeah, this is
she's
the
going to be
worst.
really hard on that. So what happens and she might not be in it much, but it'll affect milk production as well. So if they're standing around in mud and walking in mud, they use a lot more energy just to walk around, and then that burns milk production. Your disease like mastitis and stuff like that'll go up too if their udder gets dirty.
Ideally, the girls, they just might be in that dog kennel section, and we have 400 feet of the goat netting that we could use to like strip graze, at least to try, but then bring her back to the barn every night. So that's kind of our plan.
So if we were able to
just don't
protect
know
the
if
trees,
this-
we would bring the goats out
Okay.
into the pasture. But then they're competing for what little bit of grass we might have. So we're not sure on how to bring the goats in. Part of the goats is just to have the herd aspect for the cow, just companionship. So
And
she's not alone.
Yep.
yeah, so, and when we have to dry her off to breed next fall. This fall.
Yeah, this fall.
This fall. Ideally, we can get them bred so there's a little bit of less milk shortage, if that makes sense. Instead of having 2 cows, we have the girls.
So if we were to try strip grazing, one thing is to try to determine even how much would these strips be, how much?
Yeah, so ideally it's 30-day rest. So you would get a minimum of 30-day rest is a perfect world. So you would try to get 30 sections out of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would be tight, but Greg Judy says that if you take your pasture and split it in half, you'll double your grass. So even if you put her in here for a week and let that go for a week, you'll notice a big difference.
Okay.
And then just switch like that. So to me, like this would be a really simple way to a simple field to split, because you could start up here and then you just make a pie out of it and you just strip it across.
Right.
And we use the
Like using the barn as a center point?
yeah.
Okay.
And then like we use the poly wire with the reels and the step-in posts. and this would be nice because it's a short section. But so yeah, and she's used to that, so she'll stay in on that.
Okay.
And then what happens is when you have a calf, if they're out on grass on the pollywire, they'll slip underneath and they'll go ahead and they get the better grass. So we actually like that because they get the higher quality just before the cows come in, and the cows come in and clean it up.
If you're doing the intensive type grazing where it's one paddock a day and you got 30 of them, can you go 4 or 5 for a week? And so it's less.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking back to being realistic, that
time management.
We do 1 week and rotate through 4 or 5 paddocks.
Yeah.
And that gives almost a full, and I guess if you have 5, you can get a full 30-day recovery. So a 4-week recovery.
Yeah, that's true.
That's somewhat how we do. So we have like semi-permanent, and then we just strip off of those every couple days. Joel Salentine says the reason he likes moving them every day is the weed control is a little bit better, and you get a lot more experience. So he said in a week's time you get 7 weeks of experience of looking at your grass and stuff like that.
Right.
But it all comes back to time management, and like we have pastures that we can't move them every day just because of time.
Right.
So we are looking at making, I don't know what it is. They have a professional name for them, and I forget what it is. Bat latches, I think they call them, and it's set on a timer. And you have all your paddocks set up, and they'll open the gate, and the cows hear the bell and go through. So there are some guys
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Hay, we'll be bringing in bales of hay, and you talked about this, but how much do you think? Let's assume there's minimal that she'll get from actually grazing.
Like 1 square bale a day.
Close.
1 square bale a day. Okay.
Yeah, so they figure about 1% of their body weight.
Okay.
And she's probably 800-900 pounds.
Okay.
So she's not quite up at 30 pounds a day.
Okay.
So.
And we can get the round bale. I just have to. We have access just to get it in here because we'll basically have to roll it off a truck.
Yeah. The biggest thing with the round bale and 1 cow is going to be she's going to eat it slow.
Yeah.
And so you'll lose a lot more because it'll get rained on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'll be harder to move. So your grass will die around it a little bit. If you do like what we're doing with our round bales is we take them and roll them out in a row, and then they eat them, and there's not much left, but it builds the soil. So if you would do that with a square bale, you could move around. Like if you want to take this patch of blackberries out, you would cut it, feed hay over it once or twice, and then it would mulch it, and then it would come back grass quicker.
Okay.
It probably would come back briars, but it'll come back. I mean, it won't be as thick then.
The barn was built with goats in mind. I've already started deconstructing it, and I have a plan with the cow.
Okay.
So we're going to calf share, which means the calf has to go somewhere else at night. So I'm just, think of it as like 4 10x10 quadrants.
Okay.
This back 10x20 will be 1 big stall that will probably have the stanchion in it for now. And I feel like if we were to divide it, that's too small for the cow and calf to split.
Okay.
So would the calf be okay in with the goats? Okay.
Yeah, it would be fine in with the goats.
So yeah, I'm thinking 10x20 across the back with 2 6-foot gates, and then we could split it if needed. And then it's just going to be feed and maybe like a chicken brooder pen up front. But we need to do something with these two first.
Out here where we have all the traffic, what do you use?
We typically use shale.
Okay.
Simply because we haven't had enough wood chips yet.
Okay. The wood chips would work okay?
They would.
Okay.
The problem is if you keep them too much, well, you don't want to use sawdust on it because it gets too acidic for the soil.
Okay.
But wood chips break down slow enough that the soil can usually handle it.
I would like to take at least 6 feet off of each end, just shed roof, but eventually have the milking stanchion like in the wing as opposed to in the stall, just to have more stall space. is that like wide enough? Or am I gonna be sitting like in the rain and she'll be under cover?
At 6 foot?
Yeah.
No, it'll be wide
Okay.
enough.
Okay.
Yep.
That's my only concern. Like, I don't want to be sitting under where the rain's dripping on me.
Well, as long as the cow stays dry. One benefit to, if you would use wood chips here, then you could compost it and put it back on your soil, which would help your soil a lot quicker.
Okay.
Yeah,
what we did invest in the chipper.
Yeah.
And so that we have a never-ending supply of wood chips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just chipped in right at the front of the goats, right there. And ooh.
Perfect. So as we're clearing back here, we'll be chipping it's coming down, chipping, so it's ongoing.
Jacob built this barn mostly out of repurposed materials. We couldn't finish the sides in time for winter, so we used dog kennel panels and some other shelving materials to create different spaces in the barn. So this is the feed room, and then we had 3 stalls like this, 1, 2, 3, for the goats. Plans have changed, and I'm glad we didn't do anything permanent because we're gonna completely redesign the barn. We're gonna have pretty much this back half, which is a 10 by 20, for a cow stall that can be divided in half, and then the front half will be feed storage and a smaller stall for brooding chicks and a sick animal if needed. So we're gonna take off these fencing panels that we've just put up for weather protection, take down the dog kennel panels, and level the floor, and then we'll start building walls. All right, so Jacob, this panel just needs to be slid out. It's just tucked back behind this cross piece. Staples. I put in so many staples.
You can't just like rip it off.
Oh, I'm not strong enough.
Get some gloves on and just rip it.
Okay, there's gloves in one of those feed bins.
Don't dip my roof.
I'm trying not to hurt your roof. I can't get it. Can you have something to pull staples?
Sure.
I'm leaving an awful lot of half-pulled staples behind me. This isn't working anymore. So Jacob's going to insist that we keep all of this material, because the only reason we have this material is because we saved it from another project. The barn is liberated.
So what do you want to do here? We have to fill in.
Well, we have to fill
We're
in.
bring up what the chickens have scratched out is. How we're taking this out and then ramping down, or are we ramping down from here?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
And a gate there. Yeah.
And a gradual pitch coming into it.
Yes.
Right. So we're gonna have to fill in around here.
This whole quadrant. This whole
You
quadrant.
think this is
That's better.
this is okay?
That's fine.
Well, now we need shell. I'm gonna start bringing that over.
Okay. She's like, you locked me in. The chickens are happy to be back out. Let's go find some eggs. Hi, meanies. Back off, back off. Oh, there's chickies in there. Hi, princess. Okay, well, there's chickens laying right now, so I guess I'm not getting any eggs. Hi, princess. Hi, princess. Hi, cutie. Who's in there? I can't tell. Oh, hi, sunshine. I guess I should spread that.
I can't hear you. What?
It's cold. I'm cold.